It seems like we're live.
Yep. The I think the YouTube is still not up to date, but it should be there.
Hmm. I think there's gonna be some lag, but
Hmm.
hopefully, uh, there we go. Hmm. I think that's it. I'll just stop the volume from YouTube and Twitch. Okay. Should we wait just like a couple of minutes and then we start?
Yep.
Just in case the 0 people are gonna show up, still want to show up.
0 people. It's still more than the population of Luxembourg. So.
Right. Yeah. Oh, Luxembourg.
Yep.
Do you like
I
it there? Like,
Yeah.
you happy there?
I mean, you have pros and cons, as always.
Mhm.
Like whenever I talk with other people about Luxembourg, you always have the same pet peeve that come again that it's a small country and not much
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of true, but
Mhm.
there are some nice things about it as well.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, I got a friend who, like, from my class here in Nice, who's doing his internship there.
Hmm.
It's pretty funny. Like, he was looking for apartment and he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Kirchberg and stuff." And I was like, "It's so funny. It's the places I know." He's in Amazon, by the way.
Okay, cool.
Maybe at some point he'll watch it.
Hmm.
Ayub,
Ayub.
Ayub.
Yeah, you find it's a funny place because you find people from all over Europe. Like
Yeah.
yesterday, I was talking to this guy from Western France, and he just really out of the blue, he came to Luxembourg with no reason, no family, and it's really funny to see how people kind of
And he
end
got
up
a
in
job.
Luxembourg. Yeah, he got a job, but it was like during the pandemic.
Hmm.
Apparently, Luxembourg's company were one of the few that actually accepted anybody during the pandemic.
Oh,
Well,
really?
yeah, from what he was saying. Yeah.
Okay. And
So he
did it
went.
like
Hmm?
did you like
Sorry.
it? I mean, I think it's pretty nice Luxembourg if you speak English and like
Yeah.
you enjoy speaking English all the time and living with foreigners all the time.
That's
What do
true.
you think?
Well, there's a trap of if you stay only with French speaking people and you don't go out, that's something that's if you're French and can be a trap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of convenient, especially since everyone speaks French. Like you don't really
Mhm.
need to. Like if you don't want to, you can go
Yeah,
around and speak only French, pretty much.
that's true.
Yeah, I was the only one in my class in my bachelor's of math. Like I was the only one who didn't speak Luxembourgish. It was
Okay.
it was an interesting social experience.
Uh-huh. So everybody else around you was speaking
Yeah,
Luxembourgish.
yeah, pretty
Oh,
much. And even the teachers actually, like most of
mhm.
them spoke Luxembourgish. So
Okay, that's pretty interesting.
sometimes they would be like, oh, like speaking Luxembourgish, and then, um, oh, okay, Joris is here. We're translating, and then like,
So you're the only one that's poisoning the entire well.
yeah,
So
it
they
was
have to
kind of
speak French.
that was kind of it, to be honest. And
Mhm.
yeah, sometimes it wasn't super nice, but
Yeah.
it's over nice. It's over now.
Hmm. It's funny because in my computer science master, everybody was speaking English, and everybody was from international, not
Hmm.
Luxembourgish. So
Yeah, well,
like, yeah.
I think probably masters is a bit different. Like you go to
I,
bachelor's right after high school,
mhm.
and like maybe people want to stay at home for a while and for 3 years, and then they feel like going outside the country.
Right. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, for most people, I guess that would be like that.
Hmm. Yeah, you start out at home and then you expand. You go overseas.
Yeah, yeah, it was kind of it. Well, anyway, do you wanna introduce yourself?
Yeah, we can kick this off with
Now we've got the 0 people showing up. So I think
three
everyone is.
people. Check. Nice. So yeah, so as I was been writing as you can see in the description, I'm a data scientist. I've been working for 1 year in Luxembourg in this company called Talkwalker, and it's a great company. We do a lot of analytics on social media data. So
Mhm.
yeah, I have this role as a junior data scientist, helping building models, also deploying models, and so on. and it's a great job, very rewarding, very challenging, and I guess that's the main thing that I do. Also, obviously, on the side, I also have like a bunch of projects and yeah, projects about always data science, data science. Sorry, and also a bit of entrepreneurship when I get the chance.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much.
And what's your day-to-day job like? What do you do on those
Yeah.
days?
Well, it's quite interesting because it's a bit of a mix between a bit of doing research, so you have to be up to date with the techniques and everything that's being done internationally, and there's also a lot of implementation. So once you have a good idea, you have to test it out, see if how the model reacts, and like what kind of results you can get. It's really research oriented in a way.
But it's actual machine learning, right? It's not like data analyst or doing dashboards or this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that's one of the traps. Like doing dashboards is something that's very popular, and I guess like a lot of recruiters find a lot of value in doing this because communicating is a big thing. You know, you have to show your results and so on. But it's the less interesting part of the job, I would say. You know, machine learning modeling in general is much more interesting.
Yeah, but it's probably the one you can reach when you're junior or when you're looking to get into the job market, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. So in a way, it's like a stepping stone towards something a bit more advanced, and you start out with dashboards, and you can continue.
But for you, it's your first job, right? Like
Right,
full time.
right. So what I did is I had this internship. So the cool thing about my master is you had like an internship with during your studies, and so the thing is, since the master was really research oriented from the get go, I was able to go inside of the internship and work on some pretty interesting projects. And you know, they saw that okay, well, he knows how to do a few things. Let's keep him in case, you know. And
Your internship was in second year, right?
it was second year, yeah.
In my master's, I'm having internship in first year and then a longer one in second year. And I think it's quite interesting. Also because we have some elective courses in second year, and like if you've been in the industry and you've done some work for a couple of months, I think you have a better idea of what to choose, what you like, what you don't like. Like if you want to go more like math heavy or more computer science heavy, and
that's true.
Yeah, for me, it was at least it's very beneficial. I think there are some things that I like, some things that I don't like, but like you're able to tell. If you've never been in the industry, you don't really know.
Absolutely. And also, I remember like how my first you know, job fair, when I was talking with the recruiters, like the first time before the internship and so on, it was so overwhelming, and once you get a bit of an experience with the internship, it's so much easier to actually talk with people and know what they want. So it's definitely like,
especially at the beginning, you're super nervous, and
yeah,
like,
true.
when you're 18 or even 20, 23, whatever you're, like you just don't know how to talk to those people wearing suits and looking like super important when you're with your small shirt from H&M or whatever.
It's true, yeah. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you understand like they're from HR. They have like all these different, you know, things they're looking for in a person, somebody that knows how to work with other people, and somebody has a critical mind, you know, something like this. And it's much easier. It gets much easier.
Yeah, and there are some things that you realize as well when you start working in the industry, is that like it's great to be super like great Python programmer or whatever, and you can be super great at math, but like you have colleagues and you have to deal with them as well. You have your N+1, whoever's above you in the company, you have to deal with them as well. And like knowing how to talk to your colleagues, to your boss, talking differently to each of them, and it's quite a skill as well. And I think we're not really prepared for that in university, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, I totally agree with you. And like soft skills are super important. And like, because at some point you think that you're only going to deal with software, you know, all your life. You're going to solve problems, but that's not true. You know, at some point you're gonna have to be dealing with people, your manager, your colleagues, teammates, and it's really a sport game.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
It's how I see it.
And also like learning by yourself. I think like learning by yourself, go research on your own, and figure out things that you don't know, because like in your day-to-day job you're googling like half of the time,
True.
and like working with colleagues. These are two things that I think are missing in university probably.
Yep. Yeah, and it's also in a way, if you think about it, it's also hard to teach. It's not something that then you can really take out
Yeah,
and say, hey, this is how to work with colleagues. It's abstract in a way compared to like coding Python.
yeah, you're right, but like in my university, for instance, we have some research projects,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically working with someone from a company,
Mm-hmm.
and you're kind of doing I don't know, a couple of weeks internship, and only part time because it's during your classes as well. And
Mm-hmm.
so you have to talk with people from the company, and you have to understand their actual like real world problem, and and then you have to figure stuff on your own, because we're only
True.
like, I'm in first year for now, so we haven't done everything. But it's really interesting, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Like the way I see it, it's you're kind of wearing the hat of a product guy who's owning the product and talking with the customer and also like developing a solution. And that's something that's it's a hard skill to acquire. And like those projects are awesome to really learn a bit more about this. I'm all for like industry, academia cooperation.
Yeah, that I think like there is some movement in that direction now, and I
Mhm.
think it's probably a good thing. Like probably even for people in other kind of fields, like if you're not into school and you want to go, I don't know, being electrician or whatever, like it's really
Mhm.
nice if you can do it early, because there's no point in you learning Pythagorean theorem for forever and you don't care
Mhm.
about math or something. Like you need something, you need some basis, but then you should whatever go in the wild and
Mhm.
do some actual work, I guess.
That's true. That's true.
So your role in Talk Walker is
Mhm.
basically looking for models, trying to deploy
Mhm.
them. So you code in what, Python mostly?
Yeah, mostly Python. We have a bit of R also in the team. It really depends on the person. Whatever you feel most comfortable with, you can use it. And the nice thing is then you can package it as whatever container and just run it in production. So we're quite flexible at this at this level. There's also a lot of Java. Like the entire infrastructure is actually in Java,
Hmm.
and the coding, the testing, the training, and so on. That's more in Python. And as for the my role in the company, so I'm a junior. I have to make sure that I don't get in the way of anybody, and I don't. There's a lot of cooperation, but I do whatever I can. Yep.
Hmm.
So yeah, sometimes I have to do some maintenance. Sometimes I have to clean up code, and other times I'm working on solo on a project, helped by somebody who's more senior.
Hmm.
For instance, one of my first projects was so it was a text classification. So maybe I didn't really talk about this, but Talkwalker is we analyze a lot of data. We have like tweets, data from Weibo, YouTube, and so on. And so I specialize in NLP, which is text analysis. And what I did is basically I was trying to extract content from emails. So you can imagine like having a huge email got from your boss or something, and you only want to get something that's really relevant, not the signature, not the first title, and so on. And that's has quite a lot of value because cleaning up the data, going from raw data to something a bit more understandable, and then applying all the analytics on it. It's like very like a multi-step process. And so extracting content is one of the steps in the pipeline.
But you've got like, do you just can't you just do some like regex kind of thing where you
Mhm.
split everything at the beginning and at the end and just do the body of the text, which is probably what you're
Yep.
interested
Well,
in?
it's funny you mentioned this because regex is one of the building blocks of the algorithm.
Right.
It's what I use to actually create some features,
Hmm.
try to detect some interesting things. I mean, just to give you a very simple example, like just the number of characters in a line. That's a hugely predictive. It's a very predictive feature of if it's content or not.
Okay.
Because you could imagine like a very small line is more likely to be a signature or something, or a
Right.
title.
Yeah, that's right.
And yep. And so
Right.
regex, and
That's
once you have
interesting.
like, mhm.
That's interesting because it's the kind of thing you never think about until you have to think about it.
Mhm. Yeah, it's true. Like you start like digging real deep inside the emails, and your head starts calibrating around emails. But yeah, it's funny. It was a very nice project. In the end, it turned out I used some XGBoost classifier, so that's like a random forest, on steroids.
So it's
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean nothing. I mean, it's very XGBoost is actually very useful in the industry. It's like one of the most used models in Kaggle and in companies and so on because it's very fast and it's also very like optimized.
You're talking about XGBoost, right?
Yeah, XGBoost.
Yeah, I heard it's beating just like everything else, and it's pretty fast.
Mhm. Yeah, it's funny, and also it's like conceptually speaking, it's quite understandable compared to deep learning models and uber
Mhm.
complicated architectures. It's something
It's
that we can still wrap our heads around.
it's probably more interpretable, I guess, as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. How old is XGBoost?
Um, good question. I know there was this researcher, I forgot his name. Yeah, I couldn't say it's not too recent, but or you can look it up if we want to.
I'm looking it up. It's like a couple of years ago, right? I think
Mm-mm-mm.
its initial release is 2014.
2014, yeah. So
I
it's
mean,
been
it's been quite a
around.
while.
Hmm.
I mean, in terms of deep learning and AI,
Right, right. It's
like
crazy.
in math, if you had a theorem that was released 8 years ago, it's like yesterday.
Yeah,
So
it's funny
insane.
like how the timelines are super different.
Yeah, the pace is crazy.
Yeah, like recently, like Facebook has been releasing like one of the large language models, and it's a huge deal. And it's like gonna really improve the research.
How's it called?
A large language model,
Okay.
so it's like GPT, I think, and you're just training it on like hundreds of billions of parameters, something like this.
Yeah,
And
it's
they're actually disclosing it. Something that you can't do like on your own or as a small research team because it takes so
yeah,
much resource.
yeah. Both time and money, I guess.
True.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I mean, it's super nice that you can like people share models and they share their weights, like weights and biases, and then you
Mhm.
import that, and you don't have to run your on your laptop for 3 billion years or
Mhm.
hire some Amazon cluster or something.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's really the revolution is a whole thing about fine tuning models. Like you have like, really pre-trained models, and then you just fine tune it on your task.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
actually what we do a lot at our company.
yeah. I guess everyone does that. It's super
Mhm.
convenient.
Yep. And you get like very impressive results with minimal computing resources. So it's quite
Yeah, I mean,
impressive.
most of the work is done already. Then it's just the
Yeah. Yeah.
tuning.
So I was reading this thing about how actually like they're condensing the data, they're taking data and they're distilling it inside of the weights. So the weights are not just random numbers. They're actually capturing the data that's been trained on. So it's like a funny way of really thinking about the data. And
Yeah,
like weights are just your model is just the data really.
that's interesting. And it's just like the data being represented as numbers by the
Yes,
way.
yes. It's
That's funny. I always find my mind blown by people sharing stuff and like on LinkedIn or wherever and on towards data science, like these kind of websites, and they're
mhm.
just some people who think in some different ways, and like I could have never thought about the way they think about, and
Mhm.
yeah, they just
It's
share it, and then it just blows your mind instantly. You see it, but until someone shows you, you don't see it.
yeah, it's fascinating. Like all the different ways there are thinking about the same problem, and then you start connecting things and
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I saw something as well talking about the pace in data science and AI.
mhm.
Like the number of paper published is also insane. I think I don't know
Mhm.
how many times it is greater than the one in math, for instance. Like if you take math and chemistry and biology, like and then
Mhm.
computer science is way more than everything else.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the field is blowing up. There's so much more money coming into it, and I mean, it's a great time to.
I guess compared to biology or chemistry, for instance, you probably don't have to wait for weeks for whatever, I don't know, molecules to evolve, or I don't know, whatever they do. Like sometimes
True.
in those fields you need to wait for some time and some long time. So I guess it's just the reflection of the like the speed of software, probably.
Right, right. Because you're experimenting on physics itself, on nature, and that takes a lot of time. But software is like instant. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, it's beautiful. And like before the live, we were talking about CUDA and like me installing CUDA and spending like basically, just to say it on YouTube as well. Yesterday I was from 6 p.m. to like 3 a.m. I was trying to install CUDA and working with the 4G of my phone because my Wi-Fi is broken or something. And like you were telling me that this used to be everything before, and now it's not that CUDA sucks. It's just that everything's gone so much better, and CUDA is still trying to catch up.
right. Still lagging behind, and yeah, it's always a pain in the butt to really install like the GPU, like the whole. I mean, it's in a way it's like a completely different processing unit. So
Yeah.
you have to all the drivers and all the software dependencies and so on.
Yeah, and the compatibility as well. Like,
Yeah.
I think if you just go for install latest version and then whatever, I think it's probably not too much work. But if you have to figure out the compatibility with PyTorch, with TensorFlow, and then whatever other libraries you use, and the NVIDIA drivers need to talk with the CUDA thing, like.
Yeah. You end up like looking on Wikipedia the table of association a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but at least there's some support. Like many people use these, so like whenever you go on Stack Exchange or something, there are always many ins and answers.
True.
Anyway, do you wanna tell us about flotation therapy?
Flotation therapy. That's a very interesting project I'm working on. So I've been I started in Easter. Yeah, during the weekend of Easter, I decided to. I mean, it's been really brooding in my mind for quite a long time. I always wanted to. Was always watching shows about entrepreneurship. I also have like a lot of friends around me that are starting something, and so I decided, hey, why not? Why not go into create some sort of a small business, or try at least to create the blueprint, around the business. So basically, yeah.
Can you explain what's flotation therapy first?
Sure. So it's just picture yourself like a large bathtub. You can actually slip inside, and there's a lot of salt in it, so you actually float. And the whole point about this bathtub is that you lose your sense. It's like sensory deprivation. That's what it's called. So you actually stop like having any senses. You don't see anything because it's in the dark. You have a lid over your head, and basically it's for meditation and relaxation purposes. And it'll also have like small psychedelic effects. And yeah, they have like in Brussels they have this in Brussels and Paris, but they don't have it in Luxembourg. So I was thinking, hey, maybe this would be a good opportunity to bring it here.
They'll soon have it.
Sorry?
They'll soon have it.
Yes, soon. It's coming soon. So yeah, we created this website. We're starting like a marketing campaign and try to see how, try to gauge actually the market in Luxembourg, see if there's any interest, because obviously that's the first thing you want to do. Like, product market fit, trying to see who would be interested in paying, how much they would be interested, and so on. And yeah, so I've been working on this for a couple of weeks now.
You wanna create that in a pop-up store.
Yes,
store.
yeah. The idea is of so you enter a pop-up store. Those pop-up stores are owned by the government, so you have like preferential rents compared to going on the market. Market is like 2,000 euros, and like the pop-up store is like 650 euros, which is much more interesting.
In the center of Luxembourg, right?
Yes, city center of Luxembourg, and you could attract like tourists and so on. It's a good location.
Right. And so your goal is to like buy everything, set everything up, and then when are you planning to open? When you go in Luxembourg?
So we had like a very rough sketch of how much it would cost. It was like 30,000-40,000 euros, which is I mean it's quite a substantial investment if you for your first time.
Yeah,
So
you're 24, right?
yeah, 2023,
It's
and
quite something.
yeah,
It's quite
it's
something for someone 23, right?
yeah, it's a bit expensive. So the idea is really to try to hedge our risk as much as possible. So like to sell pre-sale tickets or to have like some sort of guarantee that people are actually going to show up
Right.
and and you're not going to lose your money. So it's like a big thing.
And
And
you're working with an associate there, right? You're
yeah, I'm working with an associate.
your or partner. I don't know how to say.
I don't know. Yeah, co-founder, maybe teammate, something like this.
It sounds very official.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, but it's a great project. It's so we've actually looked at the floor plans, trying to see a bit like how the layout of the store would be, where we could put the flotation tanks, the
Right.
bathtubs, quote unquote.
Mm.
And yeah, it's
And you've been to Brussels as well to see what it looks like, right?
yeah, that was like one of the first things we did to actually see how yeah, see what kind of customers they would have. It's always kind of interesting to see what type of people would go to this store. Also, kind of see like the location. It was quite a very nice store actually. It was like there was like some sort of chill space with like sofas, and they would serve tea and really the whole thing to make this experience as relaxing as possible. And then you
Mhm.
also had like the back area where you had like three different pods with a shower inside. And I mean the shower is like a big thing because you have to actually install it inside a store, and it
Right.
costs even more money and stuff. But yeah, like just to have a first-hand experience of what it actually looks like, what it actually feels like, and I mean it's quite unique. Like you're actually supposed to stay inside of the bathtub like for 1 hour, and I
Yeah.
can tell
I
you,
guess most people don't do that very often.
yeah, I mean it's rare to really disconnect for this long of a period.
Yeah, like without your phone, without anything, it's like we
Mhm.
don't do that often.
Yeah, actually
And
never
you
did this.
you saw the population in Brussels. Like what kind of people were like came to the Brussels store?
It was there was like a couple in like I think mid 30s, something like this. Also, it was like a young man who was. I mean, I think it's more of a young customer base, I would say, in general. Also, like
And
couples.
is it hippie kind of thing, hipster, or is it?
In a way, like you could say this. It's definitely a bit out there. You know, it's new. It's a bit avant-garde, I'd say.
Right.
So it's more like people that are like really experimenting and trying to discover new things.
I'm sure if I would guess, I would probably guess that in Luxembourg you could get two more categories of people. Probably like business guys who or women who are like working 9 to 5 and then probably exhausted by their work and stressed at work because we have a lot of those in Luxembourg. And then
Mhm.
just like they probably have money because well,
True.
wages in Luxembourg are good. So I could see like business guys coming and
Mhm.
probably elderly people, I guess, in Luxembourg.
Mhm.
Maybe I don't know. If they like start playing with it and like want to experience it,
Mhm. Yeah, it's true.
maybe.
Like we were thinking about like these profiles. There was like this young, a bit of hipster kind of people that were really interested in this.
Right.
And there's the professional, somebody that really wants to be disconnect, try to have like a bit enhanced mental acuity, something like
Hmm.
this. And also like for therapeutical purposes, like older people. The thing is like we have to select like a very small market if we want to start with, you know. So
Right.
so the problem if you have like different profiles, like you end up like spending 3 times as more money on marketing because you have to have
Right.
like different channels, different messages. And so yeah, the best strategy is actually choose one, and it's hard to actually pick one. You know, deselect market. Which one would be like the best customer to begin with?
Right. But I guess you don't about competition. I guess you don't have that much competition in Luxembourg, right? Like in
Mhm,
the even with like a bath and this kind
mhm.
of sauna thing. There was one in the south of Luxembourg in Mondorf, but
Yeah. Yeah,
except
Mondorf
in
is the biggest
except
one.
in the Avenue des Bains, the Rue des Bains, whatever. There's
Mhm.
also a pool there, right?
Right. So yeah, you said this right. Like Moldov is the biggest one, biggest competitor, and they're actually a giant in the scale of Luxembourg. It's like a big thing.
For
So that
sure.
would be like a big competitor. And there's also like I would say complementary goods to, or maybe substitution goods to what we're doing, in terms like massages and kine,
Right.
um,
Like
th-
physiotherapy, right?
physiotherapy, and so on. But if we play our cards right, they could actually be partners. They could actually help us cooperate. Anyway. But not
But
too much.
anyways, it's the sorry.
It's very specific, like service. Like there's no really.
Yeah, and you're the first in the whole country, right? I mean,
Yeah,
in Luxembourg.
yeah.
That's quite something. I mean, it's not super easy to find new ideas that no one's done before, or people did it, but no one tried it in your country.
Mhm.
It's quite a it's quite a nice idea and a nice experience.
Yep, absolutely.
So you were saying that like you're probably gonna invest some money in it, and you might lose a bit, but you're you're all up for it for experience, right?
Yes, I think like it's an amazing experience if you actually like follow through. You do all the steps, like you implement the entire structure. That's a huge experience, huge plus. Just on the CV, on the resume, and so on. It's great. So yeah, I'm doing with this with a partner. So we're gonna split the risks, and we're gonna do our best to actually minimize the risks by actually seeing how the market responds.
Right.
So actually, the idea is not of losing money if possible, but I would say like it has like a lot of value in itself. So even if I were to lose money on this, I think it would be still a worthwhile.
Yeah, it's experience, and it's probably all for the best in the future.
Yeah,
And you never know, it might blow up as well.
who knows?
But it's interesting because like we have a couple other friends as well who are like starting the companies. There's like Gilles Mitoir, these kind of guys, and like you're like this is not taught in school, and
Mhm.
there are some people that you don't expect would come up with this kind of like behavior and character, and they end up making it, and it's
Yeah,
super inspiring.
it's inspiring. It's surprising. It's a lot of positive feel. It's also encouraging. You think, hey, everything is going around. People are doing things. Why not me? And you
Right.
also want to.
Yeah, especially people your age, like our age. It's like you know people like on YouTube, on TV, who are like 30, 40, and they made a company and it's worked. Like that's great, but when you're 20, 25, it's not as easy to start your own business, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That's where you get the most inspiration from.
Yeah, and especially it's probably even harder in hardware kind of
Hmm.
thing. Like software, you can probably start launch it from your bedroom or whatever, and but hardware is another deal. Like you need to buy the stuff, you need to um, have a physical location, you need to welcome people at your place, like at your
Yep.
office or shop. It's quite something.
Hmm.
Well,
It
anyway,
was
I mean,
true. Like,
it's great. Congrats for starting that.
thanks a lot, and also for the 0 people looking on YouTube, if you want to check out our website, it's called Flotation Therapy with a dash in between .com. Not no dot .lu Luxembourg.
.lu. Yeah, I'll share.
Flotation
You want
Therapy.
to share the link? Can you
Yeah,
share the link on?
we can
I
do
don't know
that.
if you can write. Yeah, they got it.
Nice.
Awesome.
And you
And
you know if
what's that?
yeah, we can actually talk about like how the website, how to create a website, and how
Yeah,
to
I was
actually
gonna say you got a full website running already.
yeah.
It's but with WordPress is fairly
Yeah, it's
easy, right?
WordPress. It's like the WordPress revolution. You just like click and drop. It's very easy to do. You have like a ton of templates that actually transfer to mobile. So all you
Right.
have to do is like just create a bit of content, go out there. If you need to, just reach out to somebody on Fiverr, and just get it going.
What's the pricing of WordPress? I think you for free you can deploy something with the watermark and something, right?
Yeah, WordPress is open source software,
Oh, really?
and you only pay like for the hosting.
So,
So
for people who don't know what open source is, could you explain
sure. So open source is, I mean, it's a fascinating concept in computer science that we actually give out software for free so that everybody can use it, reuse it, and also resell it afterwards. And it's a way of licensing your intellectual property.
And yeah, there's no real intellectual property for software, I guess. And but some companies like Microsoft, for instance, keep it private because otherwise people could just copy it and iterate on it. And some people
Mhm.
choose to make it open and just put it out to the world, and people can contribute, for instance. And
Mhm.
that's what WordPress is doing, right?
Yep. Just to give you a quick example, like Linux, the Linux kernel is like a huge accomplishment of the open source community because they replicated Microsoft, what they did at Microsoft, but they put it open source, and it's so much like better. There's like less bugs, all the vulnerabilities. I mean, it's a well-known fact that Linux has a lot of advantages compared to Microsoft.
Yeah, I was actually talking about that with colleagues of mine, and
Mhm.
I think Linux is great, but maybe not for everyone though, because I think
True.
we're in this kind of bubble where we see like developers, programmers, and we think yeah everyone's using Linux or something. But
Mhm.
I think like for my parents, for instance, they're 60 or 70, and I don't picture them using Linux, for instance, or opening the
Mhm.
terminal.
Mhm. No, it's true. It's true. For consumers, I think the market is like 98% either Mac or Microsoft.
Right.
But for the server world, like it's almost 100%. I mean, it's a large proportion of Linux based.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But it's funny because people don't know that. Like people, I guess if you speak to a non-technical person and you ask them about Linux, they like half of them probably don't know what Linux is, or they heard the name but they're not sure
Mhm.
what exactly it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
Even though like servers and many companies run on Linux for their like the big hardware, the one that costs you a lot of money when you're a company.
Mhm. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, actually, like what you said is true. Like we're kind of living in our bubble, and we think like everybody else is using Linux, and
Yeah,
I
and
guess
that works. That works with social media as well. Like we're social media makes even a stronger bubble around us, right?
true.
With the things like echo chambers and seeing
Mhm.
content you agree with. That's even more bubble.
Yeah, that's a topic in itself, a huge topic in itself.
Yeah, but yeah, let's finish with flotation theory. So
Yep.
you've got your website running. You did it on WordPress. It looks
Mhm.
great.
Yep. Website is running. You can actually like there's AWS that has like this service called Light Sail. You can actually like just click on WordPress, press enter, and you get a hosted service.
Right.
So it's very easy. What I'm trying to say is that
Just to show what it looks like. This
right.
website. Oh, you got
I
a
mean, it's
nice
beautiful. Yeah,
pop-up
you got
there.
the chats, you got the like the social media going.
What language you got? English.
Yeah, for now it's just English and trying to bootstrap a bit. And so the basic idea is to have like this presentation page, and then
Right.
there's the call to action at the very end.
Yeah, that's nice. And so if people wanna come early, what's the
Hmm.
early adopters? So this is like booking, like right now, for instance, and
Hmm. Yeah,
whenever the book, you get 20% discount, right?
we need to encourage like early adopters. Like it's very win-win relation. So what we do is
Right.
actually we offer a lot of discounts. We have offer like a lot of perks to people that are actually showing up early. And so this helps us as a business to actually predict demand, but also good for customers because they have like a discount, it's cheaper and so on.
And you've got Instagram and Facebook pages.
Yep, it's still there's not
That's
much
it.
going on.
Okay, nice. And so people can book. That's really nice. It's a nice page you made.
Yep, so it's
So
fun.
what's your well, how do you split the work between you and your partner?
Mhm. So basically, I did a lot of the website. I'm also thinking about the marketing campaign.
Mhm.
But there's also like we have to register our company, create like the SARLS,
Right.
so that he's doing a bit more this part of the job. He's also thinking about the product itself, talking to suppliers. Like he was having like a conversation with somebody from the US. So we have like this huge dilemma between buying the one at $15,000 and the Chinese one at $3,400.
The price looks sexy at least.
Yeah, the price is amazing, but I don't know like the quality or anything.
Yeah, and it's probably, I guess it's probably a marketing argument as well
Hmm.
to say that your bathtub is not Chinese and it's made in wherever or something.
Hmm. Yeah, something a bit more expensive, a bit more high end,
Right,
especially like for the price tag that we're actually trying to reach, like €80 an hour.
80 euros now. Right.
Yep, that's something we were trying to do. So we want to
So
have like a premium experience for this.
right, and so 80 euros an hour would be like I come up to the shop, I bring my whatever swimsuit and towel, I
Mhm,
guess.
mhm, mhm.
I come up to to the shop, I pay 80 euros, and what do I get?
Yeah, so actually you're going in naked, so no need of a
Right.
swimsuit.
You're alone, right? Or with
Yeah,
your
you're
hotel.
alone. Hmm. So basically, you're inside of this room. You can lock it in. There's a shower. You take a quick shower. Clean yourself, and then you slip inside of the tank. And then for 1 hour, you can have also a bit of the music if you want. And for 1 hour, you are basically disconnected from the entire world. You're just like this entity floating in space and relaxing or thinking about your work.
Are there some health benefits because you told me you're putting salt in the bath as well, or
Hmm.
is it
So the
just the
salt
float?
is more for the floating aspect. So you actually don't feel anything in your body with the salt. There's no. I mean, everybody's talking. There was like a. You probably know Joe Rogan. He was talking a lot about this floating tanks,
Okay,
and
yeah, I
he uses it
never heard about it, but
like he uses it a lot, like a couple of hours every time, every once in a while. And he was saying like how much it cleared his mind and how much more focused he was, how much more resources he had in his mind to actually think about his projects. But there's no studies, no
right.
therapeutical,
But
we're
it's
not
pretty new.
scientists.
It's pretty new as well, right?
It's actually like it was invented in the 50s, but it was still on the fringe for quite a long time.
Right, but now it's getting more
Yeah,
popular.
more popular. There's a franchise. I was saying Brussels, Paris, and also Netherlands. You
Right.
have like I don't know, hundreds in the US and also in UK.
Yeah, but I guess it's probably like the kind of customers you get is probably the same kind as people who go to saunas and
Hmm.
this kind of thing. Because I know Joe Rogan is also very much into sauna and like relaxing meditation, this kind of thing.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah. Once you have this connection with meditation and you're really conscious, mindfulness, then
Right.
it's a logical step would be to go to try out flotation tanks and see a bit more what it does to you.
Right. At least to try. I guess people should at least try. Like
Yep.
it's like meditation probably. So I never tried, so I can't really tell whether it works or not. But
Hmm.
I guess you have to try it. Do you meditate yourself?
I used to try a bit, but I never really stuck to it. It was hard to stuck. It's hard exercise in general.
There's kind of an entrance barrier as well.
True.
Like
True.
you don't know what to do. I guess some YouTube channel would teach you probably, but
Hmm.
you don't really know how it works in the beginning.
Yeah, it's like a steep learning curve. I guess this like people compare it a bit to running or sports in general. Like at the beginning, you don't see any benefits, and then after a while, you actually start improving.
Right, because you run as well. Right? You're a great
Yeah,
runner.
I love running. It's amazing. Like I used to run. Like for actually, it's funny because the first 2 years I was running. Like I've been running for 3 years now. First 2 years I was running in my basement on my treadmill in front of the wall
But
for hours on end.
that was during COVID, right?
Yeah, that was during COVID. Uh, and so, I don't know if you remember, like you actually told me we had this conversation. And you told me, "Hey, why don't you run outside? Like, go outside. It's awesome." And so I did.
Try it. Try it. You love it.
Yeah, try it. It's actually awesome. Like, I would never go back to running
On treadmill.
inside it on a treadmill. Never. Like
And
even during the winter, summer, I don't care.
especially in Luxembourg, it's often freezing there, right?
Yeah, it's like -3, but it's still much better than being in front of the wall. But
Yeah, I guess as long as it's not too slippery. But
yeah,
how do you feel it impacts your work, or do you feel like it makes any change in your life?
I mean now it's become like an integral part of myself. So yeah, it has a lot of things, but it was gradual. You don't see like the benefits all suddenly, but like you see you have more stamina. You can like withstand a bit more stress and so on. Like you're a bit more flexible, generally speaking, and
Right.
it's just you feel a lot better when you do it.
And do you have
Very
this
relaxing.
kind of Einstein moment where like you go out for a walk, or in your case a run, and then you come, like while you're running, you go, oh, that's the answer to my problem or something.
Yeah, I sometimes have this towards the beginning. There's also like this thing called the runner's high. You know, when
What's
after
that?
like the runner's high.
Yeah, what is it?
It's like when you start like the dopamine starts kicking in. You know, after like a couple of hours, and
Yeah.
you start seeing stars and everything like starts being blurred and
We're still talking about running, right? Not
yeah.
any illegal sentence, right?
I mean, it's very demanding. You know, it's on the body. A couple
How
of hours.
often do you do it?
2 or 3 times a week.
Oh,
I've kept like
that's a
the
lot already.
pace. Yeah. Recently, I'm going for the ING marathon, and
Right.
so yeah,
For
I've
the
done
full
like
marathon or the half?
yeah, full marathon.
Oh,
I did the
so
first in December last year. Then I did a couple more now, and
a full
yeah, we'll
more
see.
marathon, you mean?
Yeah,
Wow. So you can run for 40 kilometers.
yeah, 40 kilometers, like four
That's
hours.
that's impressive.
I mean, it
How's
was.
your mindset in this kind of challenge, and how do you compare with like algorithmic challenges? Like, do you see any parallel? What's the
It's a great question. I mean, it's I think about a lot of things, and it puts a lot of stress on the body, you know. And when you're inside of it, it really changes the way you think about time and like reward in general. And
right?
like, okay, you're gonna go through this bad you know, for a couple of kilometers, you're really not gonna feel good, but at the end, it's gonna be much better. And it's very hard to say. It's like a pact between yourself now and yourself in the future, and also yourself in the past. And yeah,
Like
it's
like an agreement that you're gonna feel good, but first you have to.
yeah,
It's gonna suck for a while.
yes, it's absolutely it's yeah, it's hard to describe, but it's a great experience, and also like the woods here in Luxembourg is you know the whole thing landscape is beautiful, so it's always
Right.
a pleasure.
Where do you go running? You go outside of the city, or
Yeah, I live like 4 kilometers away from the forest, and then you know I do like this track for 30 kilometers where like I zigzag a bit in the woods.
nice.
I pass through fields. I go up, down. There's a river, and you know, well, it never stops.
And you run alone, right?
Yeah, yeah. I've tried a bit running with in a group. It's also fun, but running alone is where you actually like you know you're confronted with yourself,
Right.
and it's a different experience.
And I guess running in a group, you probably don't have the same level as everyone else. So you're either
Mm-hmm.
waiting or someone's waiting for you. So it's
Yeah, it's more like for socializing. You talk a bit with people. It's a great time.
right.
But then when you're alone, that's when you're actually improving your score and challenging yourself.
That's great. That's great. So for now, you're all for Luxembourg and you're staying in Luxembourg, but at some point in the future, you see yourself in the US, right? You told me about that.
Yeah, when I have to go to the US, it's something I have to do. Yeah, for now, for the foreseeable future, I'm still, you know, uh, sticking with Talkwalker is a great job, and also learning as much as possible here in Luxembourg.
Right.
Also working on the projects, but in the very near future, I'm gonna have to go to the US. Probably California. That's where the you have the most data science jobs.
Yeah, obviously.
And also I have a couple of friends there, so we'll see. We'll see.
That's interesting. It's interesting. What do you what do you see there that you wouldn't find in Luxembourg, for instance?
Hmm. I mean, I talk sometimes. Sometimes you come across like American people lost in Luxembourg,
Right.
and it's always funny. And it's really the mindset is much different, and like, especially like for entrepreneurship, just to give you a an obvious example, it's
Right.
very different attitude, like a can-do attitude of you want to start something, you just phone somebody and just get it done.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
also that's something I'm a bit missing in Europe, perhaps.
Mhm. Well, you can implement it into yourself as you're doing with flotation therapy, I guess, the
Hmm.
entrepreneurship thing. But I guess it's less of an um, general mindset that everyone shares probably than in the US.
Yep.
Yeah. You
Yep.
ever been to the US?
I've never actually been to the U.S. No, that's something I have to do. But I prefer just going there,
Right.
without visiting.
I guess also like eastern coast or middle of the US is probably like very different. We're talking about the US, but like
Hmm.
each state is very um,
Obviously, it's
different, I guess.
325 million people. Like I don't know, huge country.
Yeah. Is it like 17 times France? Is that possible? Or am
Yeah,
I?
it's very much possible. Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, we have no idea of scale compared to France or
Hmm.
Luxembourg.
Especially Luxembourg. Yeah.
Especially Luxembourg. How many Luxembourg can you fit in the US?
Oh, don't get me started. It's actually
Uh,
like a fun fact. Like Luxembourg can actually cross horizontally Luxembourg in 40 kilometers. So if you want
right.
to do a marathon, you can actually go do the whole country.
That's funny. Oh, we have a Evariste saying hi. Hi, Evariste.
Nice.
He's a classmate of mine, and yeah, we're having barbecue together tomorrow.
That's cool.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, Evariste. So we actually don't have zero people. So Evariste represents a great percentage of the the audience. Anyway, talking about going back to data science and this kind of thing,
Hmm.
do you have advice for people starting? I don't know, like either people being 16 in high school and who want
Hmm.
to get into AI, or even younger, like how would you start data science if you were 10 or 15?
Hmm. So if you're 10, if you're quite young, I think the best entry, gateway would be to learn a bit about programming in general. It's quite accessible these days. You
Any
know,
preferred language?
I would say like the best language is still Python. Start
Right.
with Python. It's very easy. Well, I mean, I say this, but I don't want to. I want to sound like it's too easy. Of course, it takes a bit of studying and understanding.
So you can get started easily. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. And you have like amazing courses on Coursera, Udacity, even YouTube. Like it's a great resource
Yeah.
platform.
I was gonna say, do you think you need to pay for courses or like because I
No.
think there's a lot of resources on YouTube already. Like you have the free code camp, like they do, I don't know, 25 hours tutorial in one video with no ads, and you're like, am I
That
gonna pay
sounds.
for Udemy really?
Yeah, no need to pay. Like there's so much more resource online. Also get I don't know, like maybe try Linux out, like just a bit like going inside of the rabbit hole.
Like when you're 15 and starting with programming, you would start with Linux.
Okay, yeah, it's maybe extreme.
It would take some bold teenager to do that.
I mean, I did it at the time, but I got lost. Like I stopped it for like a couple of weeks. So yeah, just get a bit interested in programming. I think the web is also quite a good place to start.
Like
There's,
JavaScript, this kind of thing.
yeah, JavaScript also like seeing how a website works. It's
Right.
also
Yeah, when you press F12 on your keyboard, you get this window of hell and like many weird symbols and yeah. Or like first time I saw it, I was like, my God, I broke my laptop. My laptop. I was like 10 or something, and I had no idea what that was.
yeah, you,
And
that's,
now we're scraping it.
that's true. And also, like, I think math is also an important part of data science in general.
Of course.
So if you're 10 and 15, like, math is wonderful, but just keep going at it, and you'll see. Hopefully, you'll see the beauty in it.
And it's funny because when you're 15, you have, like, I don't know, when you're 15, you're probably learning, I don't know, Thales theorem or something, and you have no idea where it's going to end up being when you're in university. Because maybe we didn't talk about that, but you have a bachelor's in mathematics and master's in AI as well, right?
Yeah, that's true. So that's how I came to be a data scientist.
And most people probably don't know that data science is very math heavy. Like,
True.
if you take computer science, probably the part that is closest to mathematics is certainly data science, I would say.
Yeah, there's a lot of statistics, a lot of understanding of like probability distribution and so on.
Optimization.
And optimization, exactly, like how to actually optimize your models on data, and obviously also computer science,
Right. Yeah.
good principles, complexity analysis, and so on. So I guess that's more university level. Not we're leaving the 15-year-old.
Right. Right. Back to the 15 years old.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, web is interesting. The programming in general is interesting. Trying to find like easy projects or something that really appeals to you, and try it out. See what happens. Yeah.
All right. What would be your first project if you were 15?
Okay. Yeah. I guess
with very limited programming knowledge, like just some for loops and this kind of thing. What would you start with?
try coding like a very simple video game.
A video game in Python?
In Python, you can do it in Python. I think it's like, I'm sorry?
With Pygame, for instance, right?
Pygame, there's a couple of libraries.
And just to be clear, when we say video games, like in Python, when you're 15, it's not like Dofus or League of Legends or something, right? It's like mostly the logic and mostly like interactions between characters, for instance, in your game. But graphics are probably like way out there, and it's the last building block. All the logic is to be done before.
Yeah, right. You can like code a snake or something. I mean, even a snake is not easy if you're 15.
It's interesting because like when you say coding a snake, it sounds like something super easy to do, but like when you're 15 and it's the first thing you do, you have no idea about how happy you're going to be when you code. Like when you make your own snake. I made a tic-tac-toe and a rock paper scissors or something, and like I was so happy, even though you go on the app store and you have like thousands of these, and everyone makes them.
Yeah, you did it yourself, and you're proud of having it's like more of a challenge and an exercise in itself.
Right. Okay. I think Evariste is asking a question. Maybe a topic I would like to have your point of view about new job roles around data analyst, scientist, ML engineer, ML ops engineer. You worked in DevOps as well, I guess, right?
Yeah, I did a bit of ML ops. Yeah, it's a bit considered like DevOps.
Right.
And
so you have actually good background to talk about that.
Sure. So the way I see it is, so you have like different specialization inside of all the jobs about data. So in our company, we have like a lot of people that are working with, I guess, what's called a data engineer. So somebody that's working with the APIs, try to, working with the databases, cleaning up the data and so on. That's more of a data engineer. He's probably working with, he or she's probably working with Airflow, Apache Airflow, like different different frameworks like this.
Right.
And then on the other side, like maybe there's more of a data scientist, maybe data analyst, somebody that's analyzing the data in itself, like capturing the data and trying to make it speak, trying to find some insights inside of the data. And obviously, like there's a difference between the analyst and the scientist. You can go into it if you want.
So yes. So just to be clear, it's like the data acquisition is from the data engineer mostly, and the raw preparation, and then maybe it would be like data analyst would kind of clean the data and start making some plots or maybe some dashboards as well, the ones you love. And then the data scientist would be more modeling and predicting, trying to fit ML models, this kind of thing, right?
Absolutely, like that's a great way of seeing it. And also something I missed about a data engineer is like a lot of creating pipelines with Kafka and persistence database. We have
Yeah.
like a lot of Cassandra.
Could you explain what pipeline is for maybe people don't know?
Sure, pipeline is like it's a metaphor like used from oil pipelines where you actually bring oil. And there's also like this idea that data is the new oil, so it fits well. And just a pipeline is a series of steps. That's really the best way of seeing it, like one step after the other. So first of all, you're querying the data from an API, then you're I don't know dropping out all the rows that are really not good,
Right.
yeah, and so on and so forth.
And Evariste is asking, what do you have in your company and how are they organized around a project? Like
Yes.
how big is your company first of all?
So we have like 600 employees. We have a lot of different offices in the world. So mostly like sales and with the clients, and
Right.
and the research and development and also the IT is based in Luxembourg. So yeah, 100 maybe hundreds of people, 100 I would say. So yeah, what we do is actually we have like three different big areas. There's this social intelligence thing. So we
Right.
actually go a lot of on social media. We take like, as I was saying, like Weibo, tweets, YouTube videos, Instagram, and so on, TikTok, and yeah, we do analysis on this. And so it's great for companies that are trying to see like what kind of response they're getting from their marketing campaign. So that's really what we're doing. We're a B2B business. We're selling all the analytics to other companies so they can measure how impactful their marketing campaign was.
Right. That's very interesting because sometimes like you make a marketing campaign and you just
Yeah,
have no idea whether it was actually successful or whether you threw money through the window.
exactly. Like people, I mean, Coca-Cola spends so much money on Super Bowl ads, and you never
Yeah.
really see like you don't can't measure the impact, and that's actually what our company does. We actually see like the response on I don't know, Facebook, Twitter. We see like what's the emotion associated to some sort of product, to the new Coca-Cola that's being released, and it gives you like good insights into what you're doing.
Nice. That's great. So how do the data engineer, data scientists
Hmm.
like make this happen?
Yeah, it's really it's a big team effort. So the data team is really getting all the data from from Facebook, and also the API changes all the time. So you have to create like contracts with the company. Sometimes you get banned. Like
Right.
we got banned from Twitter not too long ago, I think, something like this. Not sure even I have to say this, but if I have the right to say it,
And
yeah.
how many people is each team? Like the how many data engineers would it be? How many data analysts and how many data scientists?
So data science we're like 20. It's quite a big team. Data engineer, there's also um, yeah, I would say a bit more than 20, something like 30. And then there's also all the people in the engineering team, the infrastructure, front end also is a big part of what we do. Because once we
Right.
have the data, we also have to display it in a very compelling way to the clients.
Obviously, yeah. So this is the dashboard part and
It's
all of that,
more,
right?
but you have like animations, you have like maps and so on. It's a bit more intricate than just a simple dashboard.
Right. And how does they? What is the? Do you know what MLOps engineer is? How does it fit in this?
Right. So MLOps is all about the life cycle of your machine learning project. So going from the very beginning, where you're acquiring the data, to
Right.
actually putting it into production and sending it to the client, customer. And so I've done a bit of MLOps. Basically, what I was doing is like packaging the models inside containers, then running the containers on our server, connecting everything with gRPC.
What's your
gRPC is like a communication protocol. It's Google Remote Procedure Call.
okay?
Yeah. So it's just a way of communicate. It's just a enhanced HTTP protocol, if you want.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's interesting. Like the big idea about MLOps is to automate every step of the process. So you don't want to have any friction. You want to be able to deploy new models instantly. You want to be able to switch data. All these things. So the data scientist is more going to be concerned with modeling the data. Creating a nice model. But then the MLOps has to send the model to production, change it, and so on.
So the data scientist would be typically like in a notebook and experimenting and trying to find patterns in the data, and then the MLOps would put it in production, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's a bit comparable to the DevOps profile,
Right.
where you have developers that are coding something, and then DevOps are trying to put the dev and ops together.
Right.
Yeah.
These are things that we don't necessarily know in university, and also the frontier is a bit blurred sometimes, like blurry. It's like sometimes you have data analysts who do data scientist job, sometimes they do data engineer job. I guess the roles are not super well defined, probably not well defined yet, and it's probably going to get better in the future, I guess. But for now, you see some job posts on LinkedIn or on Indeed, and sometimes it's kind of all mixed up, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. And also even for companies, because I was talking like with different banks in Luxembourg, and they have, it's really not well fledged. It's still very nascent, the field. So you have like very small teams that try to implement all these things. So it's normal that they don't really have jobs well defined, well-defined responsibilities.
Right, and so finance is quite big in Luxembourg, and maybe we'll finish with that if people don't have more questions.
Sure.
Finance is pretty big in Luxembourg, and I guess they have some data scientists as well, and some they probably do some ML as well. How do you do you know how that works? How it's implemented in finance? How big is it?
Yeah. So in Luxembourg, it's quite interesting because we're more centered around wealth management,
Right.
and that's really the industry here. And the biggest consumers of data scientists is more like hedge funds and trading and so on. So you'll find more jobs, data scientist related jobs in London, for example. Like a lot of companies actually are going from this.
Even after leaving the EU, right?
Sorry.
Even after England, like even after Brexit, right?
Yeah, even
Still,
still a strong place.
okay.
Like Brexit, I think it's gonna unfold over a couple of years. It's not gonna be quite sudden.
All right, it's been a couple of years already as well, but it's probably going to last even longer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, in Luxembourg, it's like more wealth management. So you're gonna find like data science position more geared towards retail banking. So analyzing like customer data,
Right.
risk prediction, things like this.
Right.
It's gonna be a bit different. I don't think you're gonna really analyze like market, for example, or things like this.
Okay, so it's not it's maybe less trading and more wealth
Mhm.
management. You said.
More wealth management, like simple retail information, like bank, like credit score and so on. We don't have credit score in Europe, but
Yet.
yeah, yes.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else to add?
I mean, it was great talking to you. It was had a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
also
So,
the one people watching us.
well, it says we have 3 people. I don't know if that's just me restreaming,
Yeah,
but yeah. Anyway, so it was great to have you, and it's interesting because we're pretty young as well, and it's and you see the big players in podcast, like they're usually a bit older, and yeah,
hmm
but it was great to have you and have your experience as a data scientist, entrepreneur, and and we have people saying hi now. Okay, should we wrap it up?
yeah, it was great. Let's wrap it up.
Anyway, thanks for people who joined, and thanks man for being here.
Sure thing.